Failure is not the end, but the beginning. It's a pivotal moment, a crucial turning point that separates those who give up from those who rise to greatness. Many of us are conditioned to view failure as final, as something to avoid at all costs. We're taught to fear it, to feel shame when we encounter it. But here's the truth. Failure is the catalyst for growth. It's the spark that ignites transformation. Without it, progress would be impossible. Think about a time when you tried something new, when you took a risk and it didn't work out the way you had planned. In that moment, it may have felt like everything came crashing down. You might have questioned yourself, doubted your abilities, or even considered giving up. But it's in these very moments when we feel most defeated that the seeds of success are planted. Failure forces us to confront our weaknesses, to assess what went wrong, and to recalibrate our approach. When you fail, you're being given a gift. The opportunity to start again, but this time with more wisdom and insight. Every failure reveals something important. It sheds light on gaps in your strategy, flaws in your execution, or areas where you need to grow. But it also opens up new possibilities, new paths that you might not have seen before. The moment you shift your mindset and see failure as the beginning, not the end, is the moment you unlock your potential. Most people don't succeed on their first try. In fact, many of the world's most successful people experience repeated failures before they ever tasted victory. But the reason they ultimately succeeded is because they didn't stop. They didn't see their failures as the conclusion of their journey. They saw them as the beginning of something great. And Thomas Edison was inventing the light bulb. He didn't view his thousands of unsuccessful attempts as failures. Instead, he famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." He understood that every failed experiment brought him closer to his goal. Each setback was simply a step in the process of refining his approach. Imagine if he had given up after the first few failures. The world would be a much darker place, literally and figuratively. This persistence in the face of failure was what led him to ultimate success. Failure is also humbling. It strips away our ego and forces us to confront the truth about where we are and what we need to do to improve. It's easy to coast when things are going well, but failure makes us stop, reflect, and course correct. It demands that we reassess our goals, realign our strategies, and push ourselves harder than before. In this way, failure is the beginning of a more focused, more determined, and ultimately more successful version of ourselves. The key is to embrace failure, to welcome it as part of the process. If you approach life with the belief that failure is simply a stepping stone, you become unstoppable. Every time you fall, you get back up with a little more strength, a little more knowledge, and a little more resilience. Failure doesn't mean you're done. It means you're just getting started. Persistence is the engine that drives success. It's the force that keeps you moving forward even when everything seems to be pushing you back. In any journey toward achievement, you will face obstacles, setbacks, and failures. But the key to overcoming them is persistence, the ability to keep going, no matter how difficult or discouraging the situation may be. It's not about never falling down. It's about getting back up every single time. When you commit to being persistent, you develop an inner strength that allows you to endure hardship and adversity. Life will throw challenges your way, unexpected hurdles that make you doubt yourself or question whether the goal is even worth it. But those who persist refuse to let those doubts or challenges define them. They understand that the path to success is not a straight line. It's filled with twists, turns, and detours. Yet they remain focused on their destination. The persistence also requires patience. We live in a world of instant gratification where people often expect immediate results, but true success rarely happens overnight. It requires sustained effort over time. Those who achieve greatness are willing to put in the work day after day, even when progress feels slow or invisible. They understand that each step, no matter how small, brings them closer to their goal. Take the story of someone like Walt Disney. Early in his career, he faced countless rejections and failures. He was even fired from a newspaper job for lacking creativity. His first animation company went bankrupt, but he didn't let these setbacks stop him. He persisted through the failures, learning from each one and continuing to push forward with his vision. His persistence led to the creation of one of the most successful entertainment empires in history. Persistence is not just about enduring the tough times. It's also about adapting and adjusting when things don't go according to plan. It's about being flexible in your approach while staying committed to your ultimate goal. When you're persistent, you don't quit just because one method didn't work. You find another way, you tweak, you adjust, and you keep pushing until you find what works. In many ways, persistence is about resilience. It's the ability to bounce back from failure, to refuse to be knocked down permanently by any setback. Each time you persist through difficulty, you build mental toughness. You become more equipped to handle future challenges because you've proven to yourself that you can survive adversity. This mental resilience becomes a powerful tool in the pursuit of success. The stories of highly successful people often seem glamorous from the outside. But if you dig deeper, you'll almost always find a history of persistence. Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time, was cut from his high school team. Instead of seeing that as a sign to give up, he used it as motivation to practice harder, to push himself beyond his limits, and ultimately become a legend. His persistence defined his career. The persistence isn't just about the big moments of struggle. It's also about the daily grind. It's about showing up every day, putting in the work and moving forward, even when progress feels incremental. The compound effect of small, consistent efforts over time is what leads to monumental achievements. Each day you persist, you build momentum, and with momentum comes breakthroughs. There will be moments when everything seems to be going wrong, when nothing you try seems to work. It's in these moments that persistence matters most. Most people give up just when they're on the brink of success because they can't see how close they are to a breakthrough. But those who persist keep pushing until the tide turns, and it always does eventually. Persistence is not just about having the stamina to keep going. It's about having the belief that your efforts will eventually pay off. It's having the conviction that no matter how tough the journey may seem, the destination is worth it. Those who are persistent know that failure is not final, and that as long as they continue to move forward, success is inevitable. Learning through failure is one of the most powerful tools for growth and success. When we fail, it forces us to confront our weaknesses, question our assumptions, and reassess our strategies. So success often breeds complacency. Failure has a way of sharpening our focus and deepening our understanding of what works and what doesn't. It provides a clarity that success rarely offers, because in failure we see the flaws in our approach, the gaps in our knowledge, and the areas where we need to improve. The learning that comes from failure is more profound than any lesson you can read in a book or hear in a lecture. It's experiential, personal, and often painful. But that pain is a catalyst for growth. Failure challenges us to rethink how we approach our goals. And it invites us to explore new ways of thinking and acting. Each failure is like a puzzle, presenting us with problems to solve and offering valuable insights into what needs to change. Consider the story of the Wright brothers. Their early attempts to build a flying machine were met with repeated failure. Their experiments crashed and failed again and again, but with each failure, they didn't walk away in defeat. Instead, they studied their mistakes, made adjustments, and tried again. They understood that every failed attempt was a lesson in aerodynamics, mechanics, and human ingenuity. Eventually, through this process of trial and error, they succeeded in creating the first airplane. Their breakthrough was born out of their ability to learn from every setback and failure. The key to learning from failure is to approach it with the right mindset. If you see failure as a reflection of your abilities or self-worth, it becomes easy to get discouraged. But when you see failure as feedback, as a necessary part of the learning process, it transforms how you respond to it. To stop taking it personally and start viewing it as an opportunity for growth. The most successful people are not those who never fail, but those who understand how to extract the lessons from failure and use them to propel themselves forward. Failure is also a great teacher because it forces you to confront the reality of your situation. When things go wrong, it becomes clear where the gaps in your skills, knowledge, or strategy lie. It forces you to ask tough questions. What didn't work? Why didn't it work? What can I do differently next time? These questions lead to insights that you might not have discovered had you succeeded on the first try. Failure demands honesty and self-reflection, and that kind of introspection is what drives real growth. Some of the most innovative breakthroughs in history have come from people who learned through failure. Take the example of James Dyson, the inventor of the Dyson vacuum cleaner. He went through 5,126 prototypes before he finally developed a working model. Each failed prototype taught him something new, something crucial that brought him closer to his final design. If he had given up after the first few failures, we wouldn't have the technology that revolutionized household cleaning. His success was built on his ability to learn from every single failure. Failure also teaches resilience. The process of failing and then picking yourself up to try again builds mental and emotional strength. It teaches you how to handle adversity, how to push through disappointment, and how to stay committed to your goals even when things aren't going your way. This resilience is essential for long-term success because no matter how talented or prepared you are, setbacks are inevitable. What matters is how you respond to them. But furthermore, failure often provides you with unexpected opportunities to learn things you didn't even know you needed. Sometimes, in the process of failing, you discover something completely different from what you were originally trying to achieve. Many groundbreaking discoveries, from penicillin to Post-it notes, were the result of failed experiments. These so-called failures ended up leading to inventions and innovations that changed the world. Failure also humbles you in a way that success doesn't. It reminds you that you don't have all the answers, that there's always more to learn. This humility is crucial because it keeps you open to new ideas, feedback, and experiences. When you succeed too easily, it's tempting to believe that you figured everything out. But when you fail, you realize that mastery is an ongoing process and there's always room to grow. Learning through failure also builds creativity and problem-solving skills. When things don't go as planned, you're forced to think outside the box and come up with new solutions. It challenges you to adapt, to experiment, and to innovate. Each failure pushes you to look at the problem from a different angle, to try new approaches, and to explore alternative possibilities. This process of creative problem-solving is often what leads to breakthroughs. Ultimately, failure is not something to be feared or avoided. It's something to be embraced as part of the journey to success. Every time you fail, you're given the chance to grow stronger, smarter, and more capable. The lessons you learn from failure are the building blocks of your future success. And the more you learn, the more equipped you become to overcome future challenges. Failure is the beginning of mastery, not the end of it. The mindset shift is one of the most powerful transformations a person can experience on the journey to success. It's the transition from seeing challenges, setbacks, and failures as obstacles to viewing them as opportunities for growth and learning. This shift in thinking is crucial because it changes how you approach every aspect of your life. Instead of fearing failure or avoiding risk, you begin to embrace the process of trial and error, understanding that each experience, whether good or bad, is a stepping stone toward your goals. At the heart of the shift is the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset sees abilities, talents, and intelligence as static traits. You either have them or you don't. With this mindset, failure is seen as a reflection of your inherent abilities. If you fail, it means you're not good enough, and there's nothing you can do about it. This kind of thinking leads to fear of trying new things, fear of taking risks, and an overwhelming desire to stay within your comfort zone where failure is less likely. On the other hand, a growth mindset understands that abilities and intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. Failure is no longer seen as a permanent mark against you, but as an opportunity to improve and grow. When you adopt a growth mindset, every challenge becomes an invitation to push yourself further, to discover what you're capable of, and to expand your limits. It allows you to view failure not as something to be avoided, but as an essential part of the learning process. Making this shift doesn't happen overnight. It's a conscious decision to reframe how you view the world, how you handle setbacks, and how you approach personal growth. When you embrace the growth mindset, you realize that your potential is not fixed. It's something you can cultivate and expand through effort and perseverance. This realization opens up a world of possibilities because it removes the limitations you've placed on yourself. One of the most significant changes that occurs when you shift your mindset is how you handle challenges. In a fixed mindset, challenges are threatening because they bring the possibility of failure and expose your limitations. But with a growth mindset, challenges are exciting. They're an opportunity to stretch yourself, to learn new skills, and to gain valuable experience. The more challenges you face, the more you grow, and the more you realize that there is always room for improvement. This mindset shift also changes how you respond to criticism. In a fixed mindset, criticism is seen as a personal attack, a judgment of your abilities. It feels like a threat to your self-worth because it suggests that you're not good enough. But with a growth mindset, criticism becomes a tool for learning. You begin to seek out feedback because you understand that it's the only way to get better. Instead of feeling defensive or disheartened, you take criticism as an opportunity to refine your approach and improve your skills. When you shift to a growth mindset, you also start to appreciate the value of effort. In a fixed mindset, effort is often seen as something you have to do because you're not talented enough to succeed easily. But with a growth mindset, effort is what makes success possible. You understand that the more you put into something, the more you get out of it. Talent and intelligence are no longer seen as the defining factors of success. Effort, perseverance, and a willingness to learn are what truly matter. The shift in mindset also alters your relationship with failure. In a fixed mindset, failure is devastating because it feels final. It confirms your worst fears about your abilities. But in a growth mindset, failure is temporary. It's simply a part of the process, a necessary step toward success. Instead of seeing failure as something to be avoided at all costs, you begin to embrace it as a critical learning tool. Each failure teaches you something valuable, and with each lesson, you move closer to your goals. The mindset shift also influences how you view the success of others. In a fixed mindset, the success of others can feel threatening because it highlights your own perceived shortcomings. But with a growth mindset, the success of others becomes a source of inspiration. You begin to realize that their success doesn't take anything away from you. It simply shows what's possible. Instead of feeling envy or resentment, you feel motivated to keep pushing yourself and to learn from those who have achieved what you aspire to. This shift in thinking also fosters resilience. When you believe that you can grow and improve through effort, you become more resilient in the face of adversity. Setbacks don't discourage you as much because you know they're not permanent. You develop the ability to bounce back from failure, to persevere through difficult times, and to keep moving forward even when the path isn't easy. This resilience is essential for long-term success because it allows you to maintain momentum even when things get tough. The mindset shift ultimately changes how you view your potential. In a fixed mindset, potential is something you either have or don't have, and once you've reached your limit, that's it. But with a growth mindset, potential is limitless. You begin to see yourself as a work in progress, someone who is constantly evolving and capable of achieving more than you ever thought possible. This belief in your own ability to grow and improve fuels your motivation, your creativity, and your drive to succeed. When you make this mindset shift, everything changes. Challenges become opportunities, effort becomes a source of pride, and failure becomes a stepping stone to success. It's to begin to realize that your potential is not defined by where you are today, but by your willingness to keep learning, growing, and pushing yourself beyond your current limits. This is the mindset that separates those who achieve extraordinary success from those who stay stuck in mediocrity. It's the mindset that turns dreams into reality, and it's the key to unlocking your full potential. Embracing fear, rather than avoiding it, is one of the most liberating steps you can take toward achieving success. Fear is a natural part of life, especially when you're stepping into the unknown, taking risks, or striving for something bigger than yourself. It's easy to see fear as something to run from or ignore, but in reality, fear is a signal. It's telling you that you're about to grow, that you're moving into a space where real transformation can happen. The problem is most people interpret fear as a warning to stop, when it's actually an invitation to move forward. Fear doesn't have to be an enemy. It can be your greatest teacher. When you feel fear, it's often because you're pushing the boundaries of your comfort zone. You're about to do something that matters. And that's why fear shows up. It's your mind's way of protecting you from the unfamiliar, but staying in the familiar won't lead to greatness. To achieve anything remarkable, you have to step into uncertainty, and that's where fear lives. Rather than seeing fear as a sign that you should turn back, view it as a compass pointing you toward growth. It's not fear itself that holds you back, but the avoidance of it. When you avoid fear, you stay in your comfort zone and growth doesn't happen there. You can stay in a place where everything is predictable, where you already know the outcome and where there's no risk of failure, but there's also no reward, no evolution, and no real progress. By avoiding fear, you're avoiding the very experiences that will push you to become more, to reach your potential. It can be a motivator if you let it. It can drive you to prepare better, to push harder, and to focus more intensely on your goals. Some of the most successful people in the world learned early on that fear wasn't something to shy away from. Instead, they leaned into it. They understood that the butterflies in their stomach or the lump in their throat weren't signals to stop, but signs that they were on the verge of something important. Their source. Look at anyone who has achieved greatness, whether in business, sports, art, or any other field. And you'll see a person who faced fear head on. They didn't wait until they were no longer afraid to act. They acted despite the fear. In fact, it's often the ability to take action while feeling afraid that separates those who succeed from those who don't. They understand that fear is a constant companion on the road to success, not a barrier. When you avoid fear, you end up settling. You settle for less than what you're capable of because you don't want to face the discomfort of pushing beyond what's familiar. You might avoid asking for that promotion because you're afraid of rejection. Well, you might avoid starting that business because you fear it might fail. But every time you let fear dictate your choices, you're shrinking your life to fit within the boundaries of what feels safe. And the reality is those boundaries will only get smaller the more you avoid fear. But when you embrace fear, everything changes. You start to see it as part of the process, not as something to be eliminated. You realize that fear is present in every new endeavor, every big goal, every important decision. It's a sign that you're stepping into the unknown. And that's exactly where growth happens. The more you practice embracing fear, the more you'll realize that it's not as powerful as you once thought. The more you face it, the more manageable it becomes. Embracing fear is also about changing your relationship with failure. Much of the fear we experience comes from a fear of failing, of not living up to expectations, of making mistakes, of looking foolish. But when you shift your perspective and see failure as part of the learning process, the fear of failure loses its grip. You start to understand that every failure brings you closer to success because it teaches you something valuable. The fear of failure becomes less about avoiding mistakes and more about using those mistakes as stepping stones. Think about public speaking, one of the most common fears people have. The fear doesn't go away just because you prepare or because you've done it before. Even seasoned speakers still feel that nervous energy before stepping on stage. But they've learned to embrace that fear because they know it sharpens their focus and heightens their awareness. They don't wait for the fear to disappear before they start talking. They embrace it, use it, and transform it into energy that enhances their performance. When you start to embrace fear, you begin to trust yourself more. You trust that you have the ability to handle whatever comes your way, even if things don't go according to plan. The self-trust builds confidence, and with confidence comes the ability to take bigger risks, to dream bigger, and to pursue goals that once felt out of reach. You stop letting fear dictate what's possible for you. Fear is always going to be there when you're pushing towards something meaningful. And that's a good thing. It means you care. It means you're about to do something that matters. The key is not to eliminate fear, but to move forward with it. To let it be a part of your journey without letting it control your actions. When you embrace fear, you open yourself up to experiences and opportunities that you would have missed if you had stayed in your comfort zone. You grow stronger, more resilient, and more capable with each fear you face. As you continue to step into your fears, you'll find that what once seemed terrifying becomes manageable, even routine. You'll look back at the things that once scared you and realize that they were just stepping stones on the path to your success. Redefining success and failure is a crucial step in achieving true fulfillment and long-term achievement. Our traditional definitions of success and failure are often too narrow, too focused on external outcomes, and too rooted in societal expectations. And success is typically seen as achieving a specific goal, obtaining a certain status, or acquiring material wealth. Failure, on the other hand, is often viewed as the absence of these things, a missed target, a lost opportunity, or a lack of recognition. When you limit success and failure to these definitions, you miss out on the deeper, more meaningful aspects of what it means to truly succeed or fail. Success is not just about the end result. It's about the journey, the growth, and the impact you have along the way. It's not simply about reaching a destination, but about who you become in the process. When you redefine success, you start to see it as a holistic concept that includes personal growth, learning, and the fulfillment of your potential. It's about living in alignment with your values, making a positive impact on others, and continually evolving as a person. Success, in this sense, is not a one-time achievement, but a continuous process of becoming the best version of yourself. This redefinition requires a shift in perspective. Instead of measuring success solely by external metrics like money, fame, or titles, you begin to measure it by internal standards, by your own sense of purpose, fulfillment, and growth. It's about setting goals that are meaningful to you, not just those that are valued by society. When you redefine success in this way, it becomes less about competition with others and more about personal excellence. It's not about being the best in the world. It's about being the best for the world and, most importantly, the best version of yourself. Similarly, failure takes on a new meaning when you redefine it. Instead of seeing failure as a dead end, you start to see it as an integral part of the learning process. Failure is not a reflection of your worth or abilities. It's simply feedback, an indication that something didn't work as planned, and an opportunity to adjust your approach. When you redefine failure, you recognize that it's not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be embraced as a necessary step toward growth and success. In this new definition, failure becomes a teacher. Each time you fail, you gain valuable insights that you wouldn't have had otherwise. These lessons help you refine your strategies, improve your skills, and build resilience. Failure forces you to dig deeper, to question your assumptions, and to innovate. It challenges you to overcome obstacles and to find new ways of achieving your goals. When you redefine failure, you start to see it as a sign that you're pushing your limits, taking risks, and striving for something bigger than yourself. It's a natural part of any worthwhile journey. Consider the lives of many successful people, and you'll see that their paths are littered with failures. But what sets them apart is not that they avoided failure, but they learned from it, grew from it, and ultimately used it to propel themselves to success. They redefined failure not as a stopping point, but as a stepping stone. They understood that failure is not the opposite of success. It's a part of the process. This mindset allows them to persevere through challenges and setbacks, knowing that each failure brings them one step closer to their goals. Redefining success and failure also changes how you approach your goals and dreams. When you define success as the journey of growth and learning, you're more willing to take on challenges and pursue ambitious goals, even if there's a risk of failure. You understand that the value lies not just in the achievement, but in the person you become along the way. This perspective frees you from the fear of failure because you know that even if you don't achieve your goal, you will have grown, learned, and evolved in the process. This redefinition also leads to greater resilience. When you no longer see failure as a final judgment on your abilities, but rather as a temporary setback, you become more resilient in the face of adversity. You're less likely to give up when things get tough because you understand that setbacks are not the end, they're just a part of the journey. This resilience is crucial for long-term success because the path to achieving anything meaningful is rarely smooth. It's filled with challenges, obstacles, and yes, failures. But when you redefine success and failure, you're better equipped to handle these difficulties and to keep moving forward. Redefining success and failure also brings more meaning and fulfillment into your life. When you measure success by your own standards, by the impact you make, the growth you experience, and the values you live by, you start to create a life that is truly fulfilling. You're no longer chasing someone else's idea of success or trying to live up to societal expectations. Instead, you're living a life that is authentic to you, that aligns with your deepest values and aspirations. This leads to a deeper sense of satisfaction and contentment because you're not just achieving goals. You're living a life of purpose. Moreover, when you redefine failure, you start to see it as a necessary part of creating a meaningful life. You understand that failure is not something to be ashamed of, but something to be proud of because it means you're trying, you're pushing your boundaries, and you're striving for greatness. You're no longer afraid to take risks because you know that even if you fail, you'll gain something valuable from the experience. This courage to embrace failure opens up new possibilities and opportunities that you might have missed if you had played it safe. Ultimately, redefining success and failure empowers you to live a more courageous, fulfilling, and impactful life that allows you to pursue your dreams with confidence, knowing that success is not just about the end result, but about the journey of growth, learning, and becoming the best version of yourself. It helps you to see failure not as a setback, but as a stepping stone, a vital part of the process that leads to true success. When you redefine success and failure in this way, you unlock your full potential and open the door to a life of limitless possibilities. When we look at the most successful people in history, we often see them at the height of their achievements. The accolades, the wealth, the influence, but what's often overlooked are the countless failures that came before their success. Every great person, whether in business, sports, science, or the arts, has faced failure at some point. In fact, their failures were often the foundation upon which their success was built. The road to greatness is rarely a straight line. It's filled with setbacks, mistakes, and moments of doubt. What distinguishes these individuals is not the absence of failure, but their ability to learn from it, grow through it, and keep moving forward despite it. Thomas Edison, one of the most famous inventors in history. He's known for his groundbreaking inventions like the phonograph and the electric light bulb, but what's less talked about is the fact that he experienced thousands of failed experiments before achieving success when working on the light bulb. Edison reportedly made over 10,000 attempts to create a functional prototype. Most people would have given up long before reaching that number, but Edison viewed each failure as a step closer to success. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Edison's failures were not defeats. They were lessons that guided him toward the ultimate breakthrough. Similarly, Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, faced one of the most public and humiliating failures when he was fired from the very company he helped create, building Apple into a major player in the tech industry. Jobs was ousted from his position in 1985 due to internal conflicts and a series of business missteps. Most people would have seen this as the end of their career. Jobs used this failure as an opportunity to reinvent himself. He went on to found Next, a computer platform development company, and acquired Pixar, which later became one of the most successful animation studios in history. Eventually returned to Apple and transformed it into one of the most valuable companies in the world. Jobs' failure didn't define him. It propelled him to even greater success. Even in the world of sports, where talent and ability seem to reign supreme, failure plays a pivotal role in the careers of the greats. Take Michael Jordan, widely regarded as one of the greatest basketball players of all time. Besides, Jordan is famous for his clutch performances and championships, but he's also known for his failures. In fact, Jordan himself once said, "I've missed more than 9,000 shots in my career. I've lost almost 300 games. 26 times I've been trusted to take the game-winning shot and missed. I've failed over and over and over again in my life, and that is why I succeeded." Jordan's success was built on his willingness to embrace failure, learn from it, and use it as fuel to keep improving. His failures on the court didn't stop him. They motivated him to work harder, practice more, and push his limits. In literature, J.K. Rowling, the author of the Harry Potter series, faced numerous rejections before her books became a global phenomenon. When she first submitted the manuscript for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, it was rejected by 12 different publishers. Rowling was also struggling with personal hardships, including being a single mother and facing financial difficulties. It would have been easy for her to give up, to believe that her dream of becoming a successful author was out of reach. But instead, she persisted. Eventually, a small publishing house took a chance on her, and the rest is history. Today, Rowling's books have sold over 500 million copies worldwide, and she's one of the most successful authors of all time. Her story is a testament to the power of perseverance in the face of repeated failure. Albert Einstein, one of the greatest minds in science, was labeled a slow learner as a child. He didn't speak fluently until he was about 4 years old, and his early academic performance was far from stellar. Many of his teachers thought he wouldn't amount to much. Later in his career, when Einstein introduced his theory of relativity, it was initially met with skepticism and resistance from the scientific community. His ideas were so revolutionary that many dismissed them as outlandish. But Einstein persisted, continuing to refine his theories and proving their validity through experimentation and observation. Today, his name is synonymous with genius, but his journey was paved with doubt, criticism, and setbacks. It's Oprah Winfrey, one of the most influential media personalities in the world, also faced significant challenges early in her career. She grew up in poverty, faced abuse, and encountered numerous professional rejections. Early in her career, she was fired from her job as a television news anchor because she was told she wasn't fit for TV. But instead of letting these setbacks define her, Oprah used them as motivation to carve out her own path. She eventually created the Oprah Winfrey Show, which became one of the most successful talk shows in history. Oprah's story highlights the fact that failure, no matter how devastating it may seem at the time, can be the foundation for greater success if you refuse to give up. The failures of the greats remind us that success is not a straight path. It's filled with ups and downs, with moments of doubt and disappointment. But what sets these individuals apart is their ability to persist, to learn from their mistakes, and to use failure as fuel for growth. They understood that failure was not the end. It was simply part of the process. In fact, failure was often the catalyst that pushed them to innovate, to improve, and to ultimately achieve greatness. The stories show that failure is not something to be feared, but something to be embraced as a necessary part of any worthwhile journey. The self-belief is one of the most powerful forces driving success. It's the inner conviction that no matter the obstacles, challenges, or failures, you have the ability to overcome and achieve your goals. Skills, strategies, and resources are all important components of success. Without self-belief, none of them are enough to carry you through the inevitable difficulties that arise on the journey toward achieving anything significant. It is this belief in yourself that gives you the resilience, persistence, and courage to keep going when things get tough. When you believe in yourself, you approach challenges with a mindset that is focused on solutions Rather than problems, you view setbacks as temporary and failures as opportunities to learn and grow. This mindset shift is crucial because it changes how you respond to adversity. Instead of being overwhelmed or discouraged by challenges, you see them as stepping stones that will ultimately help you reach your goals. Self-belief fuels perseverance, allowing you to push forward even when the odds seem stacked against you. This internal belief isn't about arrogance or blind optimism. It's about trusting your capacity to figure things out, to adapt, and to grow. People who succeed at the highest levels are not necessarily those who have the most talent, resources, or connections. More often, they're the ones who have an unshakable belief in their ability to succeed, no matter the circumstances. This confidence in themselves allows them to take risks, to push beyond their comfort zones, and to persist through failure. It's the difference between giving up at the first sign of difficulty and pressing on until you achieve your goal. Self-belief is especially important when external validation is lacking. There will be times when others doubt you, when circumstances don't go your way, or when progress seems slow. In these moments, if your belief in yourself wavers, it's easy to give up or lose focus. If you have cultivated strong self-belief, external challenges don't have the power to derail you. You know that your worth and your potential are not dependent on outside approval or temporary setbacks. This inner certainty gives you the strength to keep going when others would quit. Many of the most successful people in the world had to believe in themselves long before anyone else did. Consider individuals like Walt Disney, who was fired from a newspaper for lacking imagination, or Oprah Winfrey, who was told she was unfit for television. And at those moments, they didn't have the support or encouragement of others. What they did have was self-belief. It was this belief that propelled them forward, enabling them to turn rejection and failure into stepping stones for success. Their stories are reminders that self-belief often comes before external success. Self-belief also affects how you set goals and pursue your dreams. When you believe in yourself, you're more likely to aim higher, take on bigger challenges, and pursue opportunities that others might shy away from. You trust that you have the ability to rise to the occasion. No matter how daunting the task might seem, this willingness to pursue bold goals is a key factor in achieving extraordinary success. People who doubt themselves tend to play it safe, set smaller goals, and avoid taking risks. That self-belief pushes you to dream big, to take risks, and to put in the work necessary to turn your dreams into reality. Believing in yourself also means trusting your intuition and your unique approach to solving problems. There will always be people who doubt your methods, who criticize your decisions, or who try to convince you to do things differently. If you don't have self-belief, it's easy to be swayed by these voices and to lose sight of your own vision. But when you have confidence in yourself, you're able to stay true to your path even when others question it. You trust that you have the ability to navigate challenges in your own way and to make decisions that align with your values and goals. Moreover, self-belief is contagious. When you believe in yourself, others are more likely to believe in you too. Whether it's in a leadership role, a team setting, or a personal relationship, your confidence inspires confidence in others. People are drawn to those who have a strong sense of self and a clear vision of what they want to achieve. This can open up opportunities as others are more likely to support you, invest in you, and follow your lead when they see that you have faith in your own abilities. However, self-belief doesn't mean you won't experience doubt or fear. It's natural to have moments of uncertainty, especially when facing new or difficult challenges. The difference is that when you have self-belief, those doubts don't control you. You acknowledge them, but you move forward anyway, trusting that you'll figure things out along the way. This is the essence of courage. Not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. Self-belief gives you the foundation to take action, even when the outcome is uncertain. It's important to recognize that self-belief can be cultivated. It's not something you're born with or without. Every time you face a challenge and overcome it, your belief in yourself grows. Each small success builds confidence, creating a cycle where self-belief leads to more action, which leads to more success, which in turn strengthens your self-belief. The key is to start by taking action, even when you don't feel fully confident. With each step forward, your belief in yourself will grow strong. The self-belief is also reinforced by your thoughts and self-talk. The stories you tell yourself about your capabilities and potential shape how you approach challenges. If you constantly tell yourself that you're not good enough or that you can't succeed, that becomes your reality. And if you consciously choose to focus on your strengths, your past achievements, and your ability to learn and grow. You build a mindset of self-belief that supports your success. This inner dialogue plays a crucial role in shaping how you perceive yourself and your ability to achieve your goals. In the end, self-belief is not just about achieving success in a traditional sense. It's about living a life that is true to who you are. When you believe in yourself, you're able to pursue your passions, follow your dreams, and live in alignment with your values, regardless of what others might say or think. You have the confidence to pursue what truly matters to you, even when the path is difficult or uncertain. This kind of self-belief is what leads to not only external success, but also deep personal fulfillment and a sense of purpose. Action beats perfection. Because waiting for everything to be perfect often leads to inaction. Perfectionism can be a form of procrastination, where you delay starting or finishing something because you're afraid it won't be flawless. The problem with this mindset is that it prevents you from moving forward. In reality, taking imperfect action is far more valuable than waiting indefinitely for the perfect plan or ideal conditions. Progress, not perfection, is what leads to success. The willingness to take action, even when things are not perfectly aligned, creates momentum and opens up opportunities for growth, learning, and adjustment. When you act, you gain experience, which is the best teacher. No amount of planning or strategizing can substitute for real-world experience. By taking action, you begin to understand what works and what doesn't. You can always adjust your approach as you go, but you can't adjust something that doesn't exist. In many cases, the path to success is one of trial and error. You learn through doing, and each action, even if imperfect, brings you one step closer to your goal. If you're always waiting for the perfect moment or flawless execution, you miss the chance to gather this critical feedback. Moreover, action builds confidence. Every time you take a step forward, no matter how small, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of moving toward your goals. This builds momentum. The more actions you take, the more your confidence grows, and the easier it becomes to take the next step. Perfectionism, on the other hand, erodes confidence. It creates a fear of failure because it sets an impossibly high standard. Action, even if it's not perfect, fosters the kind of resilience and adaptability that leads to real achievement. By acting, you develop the courage to face challenges head-on and make necessary adjustments along the way. Taking action also generates opportunities that wouldn't exist if you stayed stuck in the planning phase. The moment you begin moving toward your goal, you open doors to new possibilities. Or maybe you meet someone who can help you along the way, or perhaps a new idea emerges as you start implementing your plans. These serendipitous moments rarely happen when you're sitting on the sidelines waiting for everything to be just right. The very act of moving forward creates a ripple effect, drawing in resources, people, and opportunities that would otherwise remain out of reach. Another reason why action beats perfection is that the pursuit of perfection is often based on fear of failure, fear of criticism, fear of not being good enough. But fear is paralyzing, and it keeps you from reaching your full potential. Action, on the other hand, builds courage. When you step out of your comfort zone and start working toward your goals, you begin to realize that failure is not the end of the world. You learn that mistakes are part of the process, not something to be avoided at all costs. Your shift in perspective liberates you from the unrealistic pressure of perfectionism and empowers you to keep moving forward, even in the face of setbacks. Is also a form of commitment. It's easy to talk about what you're going to do or make elaborate plans for the future, but until you take action, none of that matters. When you take the first step, you're signaling to yourself and the world that you're serious about your goals. This commitment creates a sense of urgency and accountability. It forces you to take ownership of your progress and be proactive in the pursuit of your dreams. Perfectionism, on the other hand, keeps you stuck in the realm of possibilities without ever turning those possibilities into reality. In the end, success is not about achieving perfect results, but about consistently taking steps toward your goals. It's about progress, learning, and growth. Each action you take, even if it's imperfect, brings you closer to your destination. You can always refine, improve, and iterate along the way, but you can't make progress if you don't start. The key is to embrace imperfection and recognize that it's through action, imperfect, messy, and sometimes flawed, that true success is achieved. Turning pain into purpose involves transforming personal suffering and adversity into a driving force for meaningful action and positive change. Pain, whether emotional, physical, or psychological, can be a profound and disorienting experience. It can feel overwhelming and insurmountable, often leaving individuals feeling lost and powerless. However, This pain also holds the potential to become a catalyst for growth, understanding, and purpose. By harnessing the lessons learned from suffering, you can channel that energy into creating something valuable and impactful. When faced with pain, the initial reaction might be to seek ways to avoid or escape it. However, confronting and embracing the pain allows you to fully understand its impact and significance. This process of acceptance and reflection can reveal deeper insights about yourself, your values, and your goals. It often uncovers strengths and capabilities you didn't know you had. Through this introspection, you can identify what truly matters to you and how you want to use your experiences to make a difference. This clarity helps turn your pain into a source of purpose and direction. Moreover, pain often highlights areas in need of change or improvement. It can expose gaps in your life or in society that require attention. As for example, personal struggles with illness might lead to a passion for healthcare advocacy or the development of support systems for others facing similar challenges. Experiencing loss or hardship might ignite a desire to help others navigate their own difficulties. Pain can act as a powerful motivator to address issues, create solutions, and drive initiatives that align with your newfound sense of purpose. Turning pain into purpose also involves the act of giving meaning to your experiences. This can be achieved by finding ways to help others who are going through similar struggles, sharing your story, offering support, or creating resources based on your experiences can provide comfort and guidance to those in need. This act of service not only helps others, but also provides a sense of fulfillment and meaning to your own experiences. It transforms the pain from something that isolates you into something that connects you with others and fosters empathy and understanding. Additionally, channeling pain into purpose can lead to personal growth and resilience. It forces you to confront difficult emotions and challenges, fostering a greater sense of inner strength and determination. This growth often leads to a renewed perspective on life, where pain is no longer viewed as a barrier, but as a stepping stone to greater achievements and deeper connections. For navigating and overcoming adversity, you develop a sense of resilience that equips you to face future challenges with greater confidence and adaptability. Embracing the concept of turning pain into purpose also involves reframing your experiences. Rather than seeing pain as an obstacle, view it as an opportunity for transformation. This shift in mindset allows you to see suffering not as a punishment or an end, but as a part of a larger journey toward personal development and impact. It enables you to find hope and motivation even in the darkest moments, recognizing that your pain has the potential to lead to something positive and meaningful. Turning pain into purpose is about taking control of your narrative. It's about choosing how you respond to suffering and using it as a springboard for growth and contribution. By actively seeking ways to make a difference based on your experiences, you create a life that is not defined by pain, but by the positive change and purpose that emerges from it. This approach not only helps you heal and find fulfillment, but also allows you to make a lasting impact on the